when we talk about why we're America first on trade and we're against free trade, what I said is, I didn't say that our trade position is based on liberty or the Constitution or some kind of abstraction. I said it was based on the practical self-interest of a country. In other words, when I said we should shut down free trade, it's not because, well, this philosopher said in the 19th century that this is how we maximize liberty, or this is how, the relationship between the state and man should go in a liberty society. I said the reason we should shut down trade is because we need to produce these things. We need to produce tanks and planes for ourselves. We need to produce medical equipment for ourselves. We need to protect our workers and protect our assets and our debt and the wealth of the country. If we have free trade, it will deplete the wealth of the country, and that is not good for Americans. That's why it's America first on trade. And trade is one aspect of the economy, but that's the principle. It doesn't say, well, our economic position or our trade position is based on abstract principles or dead philosophers. It's based on what is good for America, what is good for Americans, what is good for American workers. Not America the idea, which is the Constitution or individuals or whatever, individualism or republicanism or free market capitalism, not some ism. What is good for the American people? What is good for Americans, America as a people, a nation, properly understood? And the same applies to the rest of the economy. When the rest of conservatives talk about the economy, what do they usually go with? Well, we need to cut taxes and we need to do X, Y, and Z. And why? We need to do that because this is, what is the usual refrain? This is what maximizes individual liberty. And they would say, and I've heard this often, even if there are negative externalities, it doesn't matter. Even if China is depleting the wealth of the country, well, I have a right as a consumer to buy a product from China. It is my economic right as an individual to buy from whoever I want. And a business has a right, in other words, it's ethical. When you're talking about rights, you're talking about ethics and morality. It is a moral imperative that I be able to outsource and offshore factories and jobs to foreign countries. So producers and consumers have a moral right? It is an imperative that they be able to buy from foreign countries or produce in foreign countries. Now, what does not factor into this equation is what's good for America. They don't say we are looking at our economic policies based on what is going to make America rich and what is going to make America wealthy, and more specifically, what will make Americans rich. And that's a little different, because they may say that it'll make America rich, but America's a big place with a lot of people in it, and a lot of different kinds of people in different classes, and different institutions. Oh, is what somebody's commenting? No sound? What, on D Live? Are they saying that? People are complaining. Why are people... Stop fucking spamming, dude. I don't know why you think that's okay. Yeah, you're gone. He's going off saying the N-word. That's why he's... I'm not... Am I muted on D Live? I have my... It doesn't look muted to me. But let me pull up my DMs here. I love when people interrupt me. Let's see. Is it fine? People are saying in the live chat. All good? Now it's good. Okay, so I guess I fixed it. It's good now, not muted. Okay, I guess I had to click transition here from one scene to the next on OBS. Okay, so where was I? What was I even? I lost my train of thought. So, oh yeah, so which America is it good for? Because a lot of times the conservatives will say things like, well, number one, they establish their arguments on the basis of a moral imperative, and they say, well, it's rights talk. We have a right to outsource. If a private company wants to outsource their jobs and factories, well, that's their right. And who is the government to interfere? If a consumer wants to buy from China and have this trade deficit, that is their right. Who is the government to step in? Never mind the externalities. Never mind the consequences, in other words, be they good or bad. It's a right. Even if it was bad, we should still have it because it's moral. I don't buy into that. But sometimes they'll say that, well, secondarily, it is good for America anyway. They'll say, well, even if it was bad for America, we wouldn't care, but it happens to be good for America. But what do they say? They say that it's good for our GDP. They say that, well, if we open up free trade and we open up the trade barriers, well, the GDP will go up. They say that the country will become richer. But who becomes richer? It's not the middle class. It's not the working class. It's not the workers. It's the firm owners. Who benefits from free trade? It is the firm owners. It is the people that own the businesses. The workers get screwed because the American workers then have to compete with workers in foreign countries. And they can't, because we have more regulations than foreign countries. We have higher standards of living than foreign countries. How can an American worker compete with a worker in Vietnam? A worker in Vietnam doesn't have to worry about environmental regulations, OSHA regulations. They don't have to worry about a variety of other regulations. They don't have to worry about minimum wage. They don't have to worry about Medicare, Social Security, payroll. They don't have to worry about any of this stuff, right? In Vietnam, China, all these third world or developing countries, these people can work for pennies compared to what we work for. So the workers invariably get screwed when you open up the borders. But who, of course, benefits? When a corporation offshores the jobs or outsources the jobs to India or China or Vietnam, they are the ones that are profiting off of this. Their bottom line is expanded. They're working against the American people. Maybe they get richer, but can we say, whoops. Yeah, we're having a lot of trouble here tonight. I think this tripod's broken. Let me tighten it one more time. Okay, I think that's going to be better. So some Americans benefit, but most Americans do not. Some Americans, these international, transnational corporations, multinational corporations, they benefit. The firm owners prosper, but the workers suffer. Maybe I'll move this so the lighting's a little better.